Welcome to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Well, there has been an earth-shattering development in Donald Trump's settlement with big tech, and it all started when the January 6th riots that launched a massive coordinated takedown of the president and his social media platforms. It's one reason he had to go to Truth Social and set up his own network, and he has been reinstated on several of these platforms, but this will go ways towards making sure this doesn't happen again. So before we get into this big news, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, President Donald Trump has won a $24.5 million settlement from YouTube over the platform's suspension of his account following the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots. The Alphabet-owned company is the last of the three major social media platforms that was sued by Trump. That's alongside of Meta and Twitter, now called X, resolving claims tied to his removal. Now, according to a court filing obtained by Fox News Digital, $22 million of the settlement will be contributed on Trump's behalf to a trust for the National Mall, a nonprofit supporting construction of a new White House state ballroom. Per the filing, Alphabet will also pay $2.5 million to other plaintiffs, including the American Conservative Union, author Naomi Wolf, and several individuals. Now, I think it is very important to understand what happened with Donald Trump and his mass deplatforming after the incidents of January 6th. In context, Donald Trump was amid legal battles to try to challenge the 2020 election. As we know, several of those lawsuits were thrown out without standing, according to the courts. And the claims that Donald Trump was making in court was not properly investigated. So on January 6th, there were a number of senators, starting with Ted Cruz, and congressmen who were looking to challenge the 2020 election on legal grounds and to investigate the claims that the president was making in several battleground states in particular. That included things ranging from just malfeasance to illegally passed election laws that really harmed the president of the United States and were unconstitutional according to a Texas lawsuit filed by Attorney General Ken Paxton, which the Supreme Court declined to hear. So all of this in the backdrop, Donald Trump was at the Ellipse. He told his supporters to peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard. And this was specifically because he didn't want to disrupt the election objections. It was his hope that this was the only legal mechanism where he could maintain his presidency. And it was also a means to get the word to the American people about the things that Donald Trump thought was wrong with the 2020 election. Now, this was shut down when the riots happened. And as we know from recent reportage, there were dozens, if not hundreds, of federal plainclothes officers in there. I've seen videos of Metro Police that were plainclothes who were actually in court documents that are there for anybody to find. They were pushing protesters to go to the Capitol. Where do we hear that before? Anyone see the Ray Epps video out there? There were also Capitol Police on video opening the doors for protesters. We know that for a fact because a number of those Capitol Police officers were suspended, not aware of any firings, but they were suspended for that, despite the alleged threat to congressional members' lives. And of course, Donald Trump, he wanted more National Guard troops there. He wanted security of the election objections. The Pentagon secretary he entrusted to help coordinate that failed him over alleged optics. And it's unclear what was meant by these optics. But one thing that we do know is the January 6th committee did not deal honestly with any of these facts. They tried to bury them, cover them up. And that's one reason we saw the preemptive pardons from Biden, because they know it was a dirty hit job from the J6 committee. And Donald Trump, he was deplatformed at a moment he called for peace.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
Let that sink in. He called for peace, and obviously there's no principle at play here where you censor a president of the United States over allegedly undermining so-called democracy. We saw Hillary Clinton do that a number of times after the 2016 election. We've seen other Democrats like Stacey Abrams in Georgia also complain about supposedly losing an election that she thought she won. And so there's no principle at play here. And I think the court made the right decision, but we need to really change our approach to what is free speech in this country, because it's very important that we have it. And I think it's also critical for us to make sure that political violence doesn't get worse in this country. That's something that I've researched myself, and I believe that civil society, free speech, helps keep radical political violence at bay, also right-wing violence, because there's like a pressure release valve, right? And people being able to argue, when they can't argue with their words, that's when you start seeing arguments with weapons. And we can't be having that in this country. We need to have America as we all grew up and knew and loved it, and have peaceful transitions of power, not riots that happen out of nowhere and shut down election objections, and also censorship of top political candidates, or any political candidate for that matter, over protected speech according to the First Amendment. And no, Donald Trump never called for violence. He called for peace. It's the exact opposite. And the fact that he was censored when he did that, well, it's very disturbing to say the least. So weigh in with your thoughts. What do you think about this big tech censorship case? And it went Donald Trump's way, along with 2 other settlements that he had. Do you think it goes far enough? And what kind of assurances that we have that this will happen less frequently in the future, and only over incitement to violence and very serious threats? So let us know what you think. Thank you.